Kia ora. Good afternoon. My name's Erin and I've been asked to speak today for a sort of odd combination of reasons, if we're really honest. Firstly, because I've worked with high school students, I've worked with tertiary students, and I also made an interesting decision to stand for Christchurch City Council last year. So I've had a little bit of experience of trying to engage a group of people that we've talked about a lot today. And we've talked about how we can foster grassroots participation for a group that might not turn out to vote as often. And so how can we convince these people having a great time that they also need to get out and vote? And it's something that I've encountered quite a lot in the past couple of years and learnt quite a bit about. But the interesting thing, and if there's one thing I can leave here with you with today, is that we need to start breaking down this group of people that we just refer to as young people. It's not enough to say, oh, well, actually, if we just put voting online, that fixes the issue. Because if there's one thing we can see when we start to talk about different levels of political engagement, so when we talk about student politics, if we talk about local body politics, right through to national politics, people have different needs and different drivers. And we've talked about that a lot today, but it's one of the things that we often hear, and I can say this even though I got told the other day that I was no longer young because I just turned 25, the fact that actually we take objection to being classed all as one group because we do have different drivers. But fostering that engagement is really, really important. We've talked about this voter turnout problem and the things that are important, and we put it into a graph. And we say that people with a low propensity to vote, these are the ones, and young people fall within that. And so how do we foster that engagement, or what have I learnt, and what have I picked up along the campaigns? One of the things within this was that we ran 2 campaigns for a student political role and turned out the same amount of votes roughly as some areas of local government, which, considering that student elections often struggle to get into double digits, that was pretty good. But then we also talked about, and I decided to run for City Council and decided to see what did we take from those, or what were those learnings. The first thing that happened back in 2011, in an environment that we were sitting in, I wanted to see something that looked a little bit different. Now, I'm from Christchurch, and there's been some things going on in Christchurch over the past couple of years, and we've seen a lot of people get out and get engaged. And so one of the things when I said, well, actually, let's start this, and it's not because I'm an aspiring politician, but it's because I was frustrated that, once again, young people were being cut out of the story and cut out of the discussion. So we decided to make things look a little bit different. And we did things like this on campus. So campaign posters that looked a little bit different, that spoke to some of the sort of, and we had about 30 of them that connected with different people because we defeated Voldemort right through to serious political conversations as well. But one of the interesting things that came out of that, when we said to people, well, look, we're young people, we're trying to engage other young people, and we'd like your support. The interesting thing that comes from this, and when we talk about things like young people wanting to be engaged as young citizens, and we have quite a high rate of that in the country, is that questions get fronted. And they're questions that we found which were, how do I actually get out and vote? Who are these people, and why, should I connect them, or what are they going to do for me? What's actually going to change if this person is elected? What am I actually going to see occur? How do any of these people know what's important to me as an individual and as a young person? And why does it matter if I don't vote this time? And these were some of the questions that we heard time and time again, right through, and most poignantly, standing in a city council election where I was the youngest candidate by a long way, and in addition to that, we're standing in an area that wasn't predominantly student-based. But the interesting thing was that a lot of people in this room would say those answers are accessible. And I would agree that yes, they are accessible if you go on and find them. But what it says is that we aren't meeting a connect in terms of actually what the different needs of that, low propensity turnout group, what those needs actually look like. And so when we started to talk through that, what came out of that? One of those things that we found really strongly within that process was the fact that we talk about driving turnout for turnout's sake without actually getting into the engagement, or as into what that looks like. And so one of the things within that is we talk about making the process online. But one of the questions that comes from that is, for example, students might live in 3 to 4 different houses within that while they're young people. And so it's not just enough to say, well, let's just make the process online and simplify in that regard. It's how do we make it really easy for them to move their address and to stay enrolled through the flats that they move. And that's one of the very small issues that we do see encompassed. So it's been a really interesting journey to sort of see how low voter turnout or young people within that low propensity group gets captured, but I think there's a lot of potential for people in this room to start to say, let's delve into that group a little bit deeper and understand how we can start to break down some of the barriers that do exist so we can see an increase in the future. Thank you.